Hey, let's do some easy strum, and I'm just going to grab a couple of chords here and see what happens. So obviously I'm in the key G, right? Then I walk up to C, walk down to G, and then D. So what I'm doing there is I've got a pick, which I often don't use the pick, but sometimes I do. I play in this little Beatle band called the Lonely Hearts, and with that one I use the pick quite a bit because I know the band, I got to make it tight. But if I'm playing acoustic, quite often I'll play just fingerstyle. But check this out. So I'm playing a G chord. Let's see if we got this. Gets a little warm up here. So I'm playing a G chord. Now I'm playing the Cowboy G, right, where I'm including that third note, third fret on the B string. There's the D note. It's included in the G chord, but if you do it this way, got my pinky on the third of the high E and my third finger on the third of the B. I call it it's a big Cowboy G. And what's cool about that is you can mess around with the G and C without doing a whole lot of movement. I'm basically just taking these two and going here. That's a jam into itself. What I'm doing there is I'm establishing a really easy groove, just a kind of a loping, like a country groove maybe. And then I'm walking it up, I'm going. And I land on a C chord. And then I walk it back down. And then I just go down to a regular D chord. And I walk it up to that G. Okay, now I'm going to show you exactly what I did in super slow motion, because I know that a lot of times I'll be teaching and I'll go, dude, you got to slow it down, man. I can barely see what you're doing for starters. It's on a little camera. So here's what it sounds like if I'm doing. Now what I'll do is I'll go from that G chord, and what I might do is go ahead and lead in with my second finger on the third fret of the E string, low E, and then I'll hit an open A. Okay, now I've sort of reconfigured my fingers a little. Now I know I'm getting ready for that C chord, so I'll hit the second fret of the A string with my second finger, because I know I need to set up that C chord right there. So slow motion would be like. Got it? And then walk it down. What am I doing there? I'm hitting a C and a B note, run right after the other. So I'm going 3, 2, 3, 2 on the A string, open A, down on the G chord. Slow motion. So now what we've got in total is. Go to a D. Man, it's moving around. So I'm moving around. It's the heat up here because it's summertime here in Santa Cruz. Sorry. Here we go. Walk up. Catch that last one, open E, 2, 3, landing on the G chord. So basically what you got there is a total of, I think, 3 licks that happen within it. You're just doing a 1-4, 1-5 in the key of G. But if you get comfortable with those passing moves, you'll find, I think, at least I find, that it makes the whole thing more interesting instead of just going, which is fine, depending on the song, right? This land is your land, land is my land, California, New York, out here, redwood forest. There's so many great songs that utilize those chords, you know, 3 chords and the truth, as they like to call it. I think that is a 4th one. But what I want to really get across to you guys is how to go from, a lot of people ask me this, you know, in the comments, which I really appreciate, by the way. How do you get from one chord to the next in a way that makes it kind of interesting on the one hand, and it makes it flow? And I think one of the ways, and I'm a big proponent of, you know, what I call connective tissue, which is, you know, some people call it passing notes or passing chords. But that being said, I've kind of like got a bunch of these little licks in my back pocket that I can pull out any time, and it just comes in handy as a vocabulary exercise, you know, just to have, if I know I'm in G, I know I can get away with, you know, or I can get with something like a, for today's lesson, what I really want to get across to you is the 3 moves, and here they are. Here's your G chord, here's your first move, and then you land on the C chord, okay? Okay, you're strumming along, and then you do this walk down, and land on the G chord, and then nothing until you get to the D. And then you're going to do a walk up. That's that walk up I just showed you. Open 2, 3 on the low E string. So that was, I think I took that apart pretty good. Hopefully you got it. If you didn't, just rewind, go back. So now I'm going to go ahead. This is what I like to do at the end of these kind of, I don't know what you call these lessons, it's sort of vocabulary in a way. I like to just go ahead and play what I played you in the simplest form, so you have it. And then I'm going to go outside a little bit and maybe add some special sauce to it, okay? So here it goes. See how I do. Yeah, I'll come back now. I'll leave the porch light on for you. I'll see you down the road.